The pygmies was an example of that. It was really sort of sad because we spent time filming with them, and they are involved in the hunting of gorillas and chimpanzees. And their story in particular, I mean, they are from a lot of these protected parks. And since the parks became protected, the government is telling them that they can't live anymore there. But this is their life. This is what their, generations and generations before them, this is what they did. And it's not as if they can go to the cities and find a job either. So there's obviously an enormous incentive for them to hunt illegally and kill and sell some of these endangered animals. So I think, one of the things that you see that are examples of success are when you make them profitable for them to be alive. So having tourists come in, having safe conditions for tourists to come in and see and spend time with these animals. Going and seeing the gorillas was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I recommend it to anyone if you're remotely interested in traveling to Rwanda or Congo. It was incredible.
So you saw them in the wild?
In the wild, yeah. So you hike, and you don't know exactly where they are. We went with park rangers. We left at like 6 a.m. in the morning. They knew where they had been the day before, but in the meantime, 16 hours have passed, and they have no idea where they are. They're not tracking them with trackers or anything. So then we start hiking up this mountain, and these are lowland gorillas, eastern gorillas. They're an endangered species, beautiful animals. And we're tracking them, and then they start from the place where they had seen them the day before, and then they sort of follow their trace, and they, see where they have pooped and where they have eaten, broken branches, and it was, 3 hours with all our heavy equipment tracking them and trying to see until we finally, there's a moment that for us is completely exhilarating after you're hot and you're bitten by mosquitoes and you're exhausted, and we weren't sure, maybe we're going to be the only people who are not going to see gorillas, and finally we get to this corner, this place, and the park ranger says, completely nonchalantly says, it's right here. And right behind a bush, there's a gigantic silverback male gorilla and a family, the female, and a bunch of little babies, including a baby that was born 2 weeks before, and we were the first ones to ever film the little baby. And it was the mother carrying the baby around. And then there was that one moment we were all together, and you have to sort of be quiet. Obviously, you don't want to start yelling next to gorillas because you can scare them. But we were from here to you, me to you.
Wow.
Right now. This how close we were to the gorillas.
How dangerous is that?
They had never suffered any attacks by the gorillas. The gorillas have sort of gotten used to having people around them. There's obviously rules. You can't start jumping in front of them, or you shouldn't try to touch them. And it depends on, there's different responses that you should have for different gorillas. With the lowland gorillas, I can't remember, I think with the lowland gorillas, you actually have to be, you can look them in the eye. There's the other gorillas that are in Rwanda that you shouldn't look them in the eye, that
really?
You have to look down. And I actually had experienced that before as well. So I'm incredibly privileged that I've seen gorillas twice. But with these gorillas, you're actually supposed to look them in the eye. I think that's
really?
right. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. But you're not supposed to go up to them and touch them. Right. And as we were filming, our producer was sort of behind me, and he was a little bit on this open trail, or this patch that was, the gorillas had gone through, so it was kind of no brush there. And suddenly one of the big gorillas that we had an idea was there, came behind him and was fast approaching, and he had to jump out of his place, and it was a really close encounter. But he wasn't coming to attack him or anything. He was just trying to pass through. But they're massive animals, massive. They have never suffered any attacks, and it's really an spectacular experience.
There's a video that I saw of these men that are in this gorilla habitat, and this gorilla walks through and grabs one of the men and just drags him.
I saw that.
Like you would pick up a laptop bag and just move it a little bit. It just almost like just letting them know, like, hey man, I'll just drag you a little bit just to let you know.
We all joked that my producer.
This is it.
Oh yeah.
So this gorilla walks up. I mean, this is silverback.
Yeah.
And look at the size.
I know.
Him. So he grabs this man by the leg and just drags him.
It's a park ranger, yeah.
And just lets him go. And look at his face, like, okay, okay, okay. I mean, you imagine the feeling of one of those things grabbing a hold of your leg and just pulling you like you weigh nothing.
It's insane, yeah. We all sent around this video joking that our producer's called Paul, and he was the one that got the close encounter. We think that was next
Could've
time
been
we
you.
go. Could have been him.